And we are rolling on July 25th, part 2 of our finishing the film speeches. And we're picking up the critique of Kelly Fong. I asked the class because one of your classmates mentioned that your transitions were a little abrupt. What is a transition? Who can answer the question? I know you're not in the class. Who can answer that question? No one? Oh, no, there we go. What the hell? Yeah, lose the hat. Thank you. Stand up for...
Hi, my name is Lauren.
Clarity? Your name is Lauren?
Yeah.
Hi, Lauren.
A transition is like a short expression or phrase that's used to like move from one thought to another that makes it like effortless.
Yeah. A transition is usually a sentence, or it can be 2 words really, but it's usually a sentence that moves you effortlessly and smoothly from one idea to another. It can be 2 sentences, but you want to move smoothly from ideas. You don't want to just say, this guy said the key to success is perseverance. So, the Shawshank Redemption is what I want to talk about today. Boom, click, a little abrupt, see? Yeah. And what I say is an optimal transition, listen carefully folks, because this will help you in your life, is half and half. Where you've been and where you want to go in the same sentence. So you could say something like, and this quote about perseverance reminds me of a character in the movie that had perseverance. Andy Dufresne. And the movie I'm talking about, of course, is The Shawshank Redemption. Yes, 2 sentences. Get the idea, though? Yeah. That's an important teachable moment for everyone to learn to have good transitions. And if you remember the half and half principle, you'll be in great shape. So, your thesis was it moved you. Yes, good. Sad, inspired, and angry. You quoted Rita Kempley of the Washington Post, and you agreed with her. So that was all well done. On your main body, sad. Short and sweet. What you say it was 3:19? 3:59. So you had about a minute 15 seconds. So you could have slowed down and iced the cake in your story, you see. And you had the Chicago footnote done correctly at the bottom of the page. Very good. So here, let's talk about this sad. You said that your friend has suffered from extreme anxiety. It's helpful if you don't want to state her name in real life, call her Mary or whatever, my friend Mary. So a few details make a story be more real. See? So my friend Mary, and I were studying for a geography exam, and she called me at the dorm at 4 in the morning. See, little details make it real instead of the bare bones. Friend had anxiety, she called me at 4 a.m. So, you see the difference? Yeah. I think we needed a little more leading up to why this made you sad. And as I sat and listened to her and listened to how anxious she was and how hopeless I felt, I couldn't do much about it. I felt very sad. Okay. Uninspired, your second feeling. Here you told a great story of being the worst on your tennis team, but somebody with heart and somebody that works hard. And a teacher, a professor, a coach will always take to that person over somebody with more talent that sort of calls in their assignment and doesn't work as hard. Because people like a good attitude. People like to work with people that have fire in their belly, right? You know, desperately want to succeed. And your coach saw that fire in your belly and let you compete in junior varsity matches, which you won, and you returned an emotion and said, I felt inspired by this challenge. So that was well done. Your best one was your third one when you said angry. Because here, you weren't afraid. You really felt, sense it, and let it loose. We really got it. And if you want to check the difference between the three ways you communicated your emotion, you really communicated this emotion of your brother being bullied, almost killed, and you pulling them off and go, oh, I was just joking around. Right, and you know, your reaction is, that's bullshit, and it's wrong, and I was mad as hell, you know, I was angry. Yeah, that really came through. So we got your felt sensing, we had an emotional connection at that moment. That's what I was trying for, folks, with this assignment of the film speech. Summary good? Conclusion, yeah, you finally got to it. There's no doubt in this room. Family moving. And your tie back was good. Your cannot. Don't start off with too strong a tone and voice in the beginning. Work toward a climax. That's just true in many things. If you start, you know, real loud and high, where do you go after that? See? There's nothing to climax with. You're already done it. You've already done it in the beginning. So it was wise advice to yourself. Make more eye contact with the audience and don't talk too fast. How did it go?
I think I talked too fast. I made more eye contact than last time, but I can improve on that possible.
I recommend you, with practice, your next speech with a friend, with a live person, not just a mirror, and have your friend hold up their arms so there's actually 1, 2, 3 people in the room, and you go 3 seconds on this fist, 3 seconds here, 3 seconds on this fist. So and then they pop it, and then you get the feeling of what 3 to 5 seconds really is. It's longer than you think, and it's longer than what you're doing. You will learn to slow down when you learn to practice the emphatic style of delivery that I'm trying to teach. Because yellow key words, some are louder, some are softer. Sometimes you go fast. Sometimes you go slow to make a point. Okay? So overall, Kelly, really liked the speech a lot. One of my favorite movies, except for Blue Velvet. And yeah, it's a great film. Thank you. Okay, next. We've got Decker. Yeah, good. It's on a single-sided, yeah.
Except for the last bit. I'm sorry.
Ludo, right? Ludo stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes. Can you put your hair behind your back? Yeah, that's good. In the future, I recommend you put a bungee cord, wear your hair up so it's stuck behind your face.
Do it?
What?
Do you
Yeah. Because it's better for full facial expression to have a face that's showing. I had one girl last summer that wore her hair, you know, the style where half the eye is concealed. No, that doesn't work. Okay, Ludo. Wait a minute, you're taller. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Nice contrast with the white background. Ludo stands before you, managing attention, being respectfully friendly. She's reading. All eyeballs should be on you. Say to yourself, I really respect my audience and mean it. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, my name is Ludo.
Hi, Ludo.
So sometimes family is a means by which we understand how primitive instincts, how alive primitive instincts still are, how alone we are, and how ruthless mankind can be. Parenti Serpetti is an Italian black comedy film set in 1992, and in English it has been translated into Poisonous Relations, and it deals with family relationships. So it's about 4 brothers. They go and visit their old parents for Christmas vacations. And while from the outside it looks like they're the perfect family because they're respecting traditions and everything, once they are faced with the old parents' decision to go and live with one of them because of their old age, they reveal their true colors. And basically the movie ends with them killing their parents. So the film hints at what it means to be human, and the role that each one of you play within society and within your community. And chances are that you will leave the room with a completely different perspective on humankind. While the critics acknowledge the role of egoism in the movie, they put emphasis on the fact that traditions are superficial. But I think that the greatest emphasis should be put on the hypocrisy of humankind. The movie made me feel free when you go through 3 emotions. The first one was anger. I was really angry when I first saw the movie because I just couldn't understand the brothers' behavior. My mom's family came to my mind when watching the movie, and my grandpa, he lived through the Second World War, so he was physically damaged. And so whenever he needed assistance, none of his kids ever hesitated. So I grew up with that example. So looking at these 4 brothers, and none of them wanted to take care of their parents who raised them, took care of them, and sacrificed themselves for them, really made me angry. So then I reflected, and I tried to analyze the brothers' behavior, and that's when my second emotion kicked in. It really, really made me reflect on humankind. And I linked their behavior to the theory of the social contract, and Hobbes in particular, who maintained that the human being are driven by selfishness, and then there is a bad within each one of us. Now, I know that this seems a bit harsh and extreme, but unfortunately I experienced it firsthand when a really close relative of mine showed us what the cruel side of humans is through terror. And so this is just to say that family is no exception, and that there is a bad within each one of us, and this is what makes us alone, because it creates a world, an intangible world around us. And from the emptiness of my reflection, I felt really empty after my reflection. So then I went back and looked at the scenes, and they actually made me laugh. This is a comedy, so the scenes are not particularly deep unless they're analyzed. So by looking at the scenes, they made me laugh because of how realistic they are. Family gatherings, for most of us, they mean drama. So it was funny not being part of it, and it was also funny not seeing how disagreements would unfold. from different perspectives. And I related and identified with the kids in the story because like I'm one of the youngest in my family, so I've always been the kid. And I've always been the troublemaker. So at family gatherings, when I was younger, like the entire family was just waiting for me to get into trouble. But at the end of the day, I would be like, after the trouble occurred, I would be the silent one, just observing everyone, and I was really, really sensitive. So when observing, I would actually like know how someone would feel. And by looking at the scenes without this sensitivity, or without being influenced by my sensitivity, the scenes were actually funny. The movie made me feel angry, it made me reflect, and it made me laugh, or at least smile. The movie really gave concreteness to the expression "lonely in a crowded room," and I think that although like when we are within communities that we feel we belong to, like our world around us, like our egoistic world around us, it might shrink, like it never really disappears. And I think that sometimes we try really hard not to lose something or to get something, that we lose everything else.
Thank you. Thank you. On the next was time 5:30. 5:30. What was it? Next, please. We went up and down the row quickly.
Hi, my name is Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
I like how your speech was structured and you really made your point clear.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Emily. I liked, like you said, it was really good, and how you really hit all your points was clear, but definitely could you move around a little bit more. Other than that.
Well, you're seeming more confident. Let's stop pinching yourself and playing with your rings. Let them
Yeah,
be.
I think I shouldn't wear them.
Yeah. No rings. Lose the ring. But you'll still pinch your fingers because you're anxious. And so watch yourself and see yourself and try not to do it. That's why I was giving you these cues to just let your hands be by your side. Thank you for only writing on one side of the page. On the intro, you talk about family, and that people think of it as this wonderful thing, but you quickly dissuaded us that families can be ruthless and cruel. Stay in the power stance. Ruthless and cruel, and remind us of how alone we really are, right? So that was sort of a grabber and an interesting introduction. It was a little different. I don't know if it was an observation or what it was. You told us and translated the movie into poisonous relationships. Is that correct? So that was good. And you told us this was an Italian black comedy film about family relationships. You started to give us a little bit of a plot summary about brothers losing their parents. Not sure we really needed it, but if you are going to give a plot summary, you make it shorter. Okay? There was really no place in here for this, and that's where your 30 seconds came from over time. But I guess we really did need to know, and there was no spoiler alert here. They killed their parents, right? Yeah. So that was fine. So on your thesis, and by the way, you started off nicely by having the parts of the prompt have their own line, but you lost it in the main body. It became a real...
I put ABC.
Yeah, ABC, stream of consciousness, main body. What I want to see you do is... story, personal experience would be help it hang out and stick out. And like to see you make your narrative more apparent. So when you said that moved you in 3 ways, you can, work the 3 ways each time as you give them and emphasize it with your voice. So, your 6th statement, I guess you alluded to a critic or critiques, but I didn't see a specific quote as you saw others give.
Yeah, because I read some of them and then I just,
Yeah. So,
they were about, also because they were in Italian, so.
just give a sentence. Say it's from Rex Reed or, Ben Stiller. I don't care who it is. It doesn't have to be an American newspaper. But just say where it's from and that you agree or disagree. Okay. On anger. Yeah. You set the stage, and I thought this was your best one, where you talked about your grandfather who was injured in World War II, and yet you saw the people in this film as very disrespectful and self-centered, and it really made you angry, and you returned to the anger and refelt it and felt sensitive. That's what you were trying to learn to do. Okay, on the other ones, I especially want to get to the last one, which was the laugh. This was, it was a little awkward to explain how a movie of killing your parents was funny in a comedy, but you said, and seeing it again, you saw how it was kind of funny. What I needed to have you do is relate it to something that happened in your life where you laughed too, and it made me laugh. Do the felt sensing, tell the story. Okay? Your summary, you said angry, reflect, and laugh. There should be no doubt in this room the film really moved me. And then tie back to what you started about people being, despite being in families, there's no guarantee that they're going to act in a family-like manner, right? On your canal, create eye contact from the beginning. Engage with the, I can't read the word, pupils?
People?
With the people, okay, and have a dynamic
With the
tone.
public, the audience.
I need a dynamic tone of voice. How'd it go?
I think I should work on my voice.
Yeah.
And I think eye contact was better than last time, but still not perfect.
And when you practice with a live person, have them hold their hands out, do 5 seconds on each hand, 5 seconds in the middle, so you get that feeling of how long it is. Let them call out 5 seconds. Yeah, and the dynamics will be helpful. You did well given, the language issue and all that stuff. So I like the speech, but just it needed to be tightened up. And I like the fact that you're more confident and you're not, not like a scared waif up there. You faked it anyway. Even if you felt scared, you showed some confidence, and that was good. Be careful of the hands, of bringing the hands too much together, and pinching yourself. And I would say lose the rings, hair up, and you'll be in great shape. Thank you, Ludo. Okay, perfect. We need the green meanie.
Oh.
Okay, your timing, thank you so much. You're taller. Okay, yeah, don't stand, take a step forward. Yeah, I don't want you to be too far from your audience. Yeah. Half step back. That gets it perfectly for me, yeah. Okay, Mercedes stands first in attention, saying the mock. Start your speech.
Hello, my name is Mercedes.
Hi, Mercedes.
And when given the decision to choose between life and death, a lot of us will choose life. However, when others' lives are placed on our shoulders and others' safety is placed in our hands, it becomes a little bit more complicated. So we begin to battle the dilemma to be a life or to save a life. Today I would like to introduce you to a film that really moved me. This film is Flight by Denzel Washington. This film made me feel anxious, it allowed me to be reflective, and it also gave me a sense of relief. According to Philip French from The Guardian, he said this role by Denzel Washington was the most complex and also the least sympathetic role that he's ever played. I could not disagree more. In the beginning of the film starts as typical as our expectations expect. Everyone is boarding a flight. Everyone is boarding the flight and everything seems normal. However, moments before takeoff, we witness Denzel Washington getting intoxicated. The first emotion that I felt was anxious, and this was the scene of the plane crash. I felt like I was on the plane. I had a very similar experience, though I was not in a plane crash, but extreme turbulence. In that moment, I thought the worst. I thought I was going to die. I thought the plane was going to crash. And in that moment, I didn't even remember the normal routine of the safety routines, you know, the breathing, oxygen. I was just super frantic. So in that moment, I could be very sympathetic with each and every one of those characters in the movie, from the mother who had a son to a lady, her child even fell out of the seat. So in that moment, I completely wrapped my emotions into the film. The second emotion that I felt when I watched the movie was reflective. And this was the moment when Denzel, after the plane crash and he woke up in the hospital after his concussion, he went to the hallway to take a smoke break and he met a guy who was suffering from cancer, and he also met a drug addict. And in that moment, he faced two people who were leading lives that could have much been his own. He could have been dead, and like the lady, he did all sorts of drugs. And though I cannot relate to any of these matters, it made me reflect on my own life decisions and the things that I've done. If I would have stayed in Texas and accepted my store manager position, would I lead a better life? Or if, you know, would it be easier for me if I went to a university in Texas completely tuition free? Or if I stayed in my district, would I end up pregnant? Like a lot of the girls in my school district, we have the highest pregnancy rate. So that was something that allowed me to really think about the decisions that I made in my life, which is something I feel like we all can relate and think about all the time. The third emotion that I felt when watching this movie was a sense of relief. In the end, Denzel did end up going to prison. And this was not by ruling. Actually, when they reviewed the flight, they said that no one, even sober, could have humanly possible landed that plane, and only 6 people died, and it was about 200 people on the flight. And it gave me a sense of relief because in that moment, he admitted that I have a drinking problem, I am an addict, there's something wrong with me. And I can relate to that, and sometimes it's hard to admit to when we're wrong, it's hard to admit when we're flawed, and I've never had an addiction, but I used to have a problem with my anger. And I remember when me and my cousin used to battle all the time, and it was a moment just like an addict who puts all his emotions into an alcohol bottle. I bottled all my emotions in my mind. And in that moment, it wasn't the argument that we were having, but it was all the negative experiences that we've ever suffered from. And in that moment, I picked up a TV and threw it at her, right? Did not hit her. Did not hit her. We're very close to this day. In the end, there is no doubt in my mind, and I believe that you guys can agree, that this film had a huge impact on my life. It had a huge impact on my perspective, and something that I really took away from this film is, in the stairwell, the cancer patient, he said that death allows you to have a different perspective, and I would say that life experiences will give you a completely different perspective on life. And to give a life or to save a life, a lot of the times we choose to save face in order for us to have credibility, but sometimes it's more effective if we live through our life experiences. So, thank you.
Right. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Reshma.
Hi, Reshma.
Really good speech. I really liked it. I could really see the emotion in your voice, and it was really easy to follow.
Huh? Next, please.
Hi, my name is Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
I think your speech was really, really good. I think maybe just control the hand movements.
Yeah.
Control what?
This time.
Hand movements.
Hands.
Yeah, what was the time, by the way?
It was 4:40.
4:42. Good. Okay, good. Now, Mercedes, love your name, and would like to talk to you about your speech. And first, in terms of the intro, you have rhetorical choices, as I told you: a poem, a quote, a story, a joke, or a rhetorical question. You chose to make some observations, right, about the world. When faced with decisions of life and death, many of us would choose life. However, when the responsibilities of other lives are placed on our shoulders, our personal safety becomes a bit more controversial. Save a life or to be alive. Now, was that last sentence a question? Was it sort of a statement, rhetorical question? Is that how you started it? And why was this a grabber? I don't mean to get, I love the speech, I don't mean to get critical right away, but we're running out of time.
When I was writing it, I didn't know if I wanted it to be a question or to be a conversation piece, to say, you know, to be like an grabber, to be alive or to save a life, or to say we are faced with the decision to be alive or to save a life. So I couldn't decide, that's why it's like just a statement.
Okay, fair enough. Your thesis had the name of the movie. You changed a little, which I liked. Last minute editing. It tells me you're still constantly thinking and improving your speech, and that was good. The what I didn't see and what I want to see is the prompt presented in Roman numerals like an outline. More so there. You had the first way, you had the second way. Significant themes. I like to see significant statement. What I didn't see was a quote.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah.
Honestly, in all honesty, I forgot about the quote.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of throw it in there.
Yeah. And the quote was to come in the significant statement, and you were to say whether you agreed or disagreed with it, and put it in Chicago form. So you showed me you can do that kind of bibliographic entry. But let's talk about the substance of the film, of your speech, which was pretty darn good. On anxious, yes. You were very short with the plot summary, and you told us of your own time when you hit heavy turbulence and thought you were going to die. And we felt your fear, we felt your anxiety, because you sensed it too. That's how you do it. My only criticism, as I've said to many people in the room, is, and that's why I felt so anxious. But, work the narrative line more. But besides anxious, the film also made me reflect, or feel emotional. You originally had, but reflect. So let's talk about the reflections you had. Here I thought your reflections were excellent. You talked about what might have been if you stayed in your hometown. Yes, you would have been a manager of the local, I don't know, J.C. Penney's or whatever. But, whatever. But you also knew there was more to the world than being manager of the J.C. Penney's in Waco, Texas, or wherever it was, and that you could have been more. And you want to be more. And you don't want to be barefoot and pregnant like so many girls in your town, which I like. So you so honestly talked about the nature of your town. You Texas wanted you to come there free. You chose to come to this great university. See, so that was very real, and I felt your reflections were good. And that's why I only needed to say, and that's why I caused me to reflect. But besides reflecting, see how you keep the narrative alive in your audience's head. The film also gave me a sense of relief, emphasized with your voice. And here I say you talk about something completely different than you had in your write-up, which is fine. You chose to do something I think that was a little more pertinent. I liked the idea that you picked up a TV and threw it in her direction. That's pretty dramatic. Unexpected, I think. Yeah. Summary was good. I didn't get to the conclusion till the very end, and the tie back was in the middle between the conclusion and the summary, right? That's how and that's okay to journal them around. Your canais, be understood, be convincing, be effective. How'd it go?
I think I could have been a little bit more effective in my order.
Yeah.
Understood, I think it was that, and what was my other one?
Understanding, convicting, and effective.
Convincing, so-so. I think if the order was a little bit better, it would have been a little bit more effective.
The third one ran out a little bit of gas for me compared to the other two. But you only had about 15 seconds, so it was fine. So you did a good job, Mercedes. Thank you. You're trying to put it in the right pile. What's the right pile? What is it? Do we have any more film speakers? Do we have any more film speakers? Give yourself a round of applause. So it looks like we're almost out of time. Anyone burning to give their PC today? I saw a hand. Okay, we will do the PCs on Thursday, and we will forego the audience comments. I will be the one that will comment only, so we can get through more of them. Be thinking about a speech that you want to do for your persuasive topic, and I will show you an example of that next time. Return with honor. And let me have the scoring sheets back, please.